I feel like we've talked about this before, but people who teach things, other people on like social media, and especially now because I'm looking at so many podcasts and being introduced to so many new ones, is just like, it's crazy the amount of people who seem to have very little background in anything who are there to like physically teach you. Like, if you're not someone with financial background, like, don't teach me how to not be broke. If you don't have a clinical background or a decade plus of experience in some field, don't teach me how to conquer my anxiety. If you're not the Dalai Lama, don't teach me how to find God or be my most spiritual self. You can tell me about your journey. You can tell me how you did it for yourself, but to build this entire online personality based on this outward focus, let me impart knowledge on you shtick, and then to monetize it by selling ebooks or rosary beads or something, just seems totally dishonest and kind of gross, honestly. Like, how to be confident as told by a social butterfly who's never dealt with social anxiety or had a single issue being confident. Just seems like spare me, you know? Like, I get it. Everyone wants to get famous and everybody wants to make a buck. Like, we're not that different with this podcast, but we also don't pretend to be experts on anything. We're not here to teach anyone anything. If anything, we're here to learn, to document our journey, not as experts, as just like everyday regular people. So people need to stop it. We don't need you to teach us how to do things you're not an expert on. Just share your story and let your audience use that to figure it out themselves, you know?
I'm kind of like a doctor. Like, if given the chance, I have a lot of wisdom to impart. I'm joking. I'm just telling you that because you always tell me I'm not a doctor. Or I'm not a scientist. That's what you say.
Yeah, anyways, that's my rant. We're back to podcasting rant. And I just had to get it off my chest because it's been building. And I just see so many people out there just imparting knowledge. You're like, you don't have the knowledge to impart, and if you do, just like talk about it for yourself. Why is this like outward like pushing of like, let me tell you how you should do it?
But I think I think a lot of people just want to be told what to do. Like, I notice it. I was just having this conversation with someone at work today. I notice it at work sometimes. Like, there's just a certain personality type that's like, just tell me what to do. Like, you don't want to figure out yourself. You don't want to struggle. You're like, just tell me the best way to do it.
Yeah, but the people who should be telling them how to do it aren't like fucking Ernie from accounting who's going to teach you how to like sculpt the perfect body or eat healthy when they've been researched.
Ernie from accounting might know what he's doing things.
Maybe, but then that's fine. If he spent the last 10 years learning how to like perfect your diet and like sculpt abs, then cool, Ernie, tell me about it. But if you just like went to 3 classes and have been doing fucking, what's it called? CrossFit for 6 months, then like, I don't want to hear it. Stop selling me ebooks. Like, I've just had it. Speaking of CrossFit, by the way, want to hear something about are you a CrossFit fan?
No, my body can't take that sort of physical strain.
Well, here's maybe a reason why that's a good thing. The CrossFit CEO, a couple of days ago, the CEO and founder told gym owners in a private Zoom call, "We're not mourning for George Floyd. I don't think me or any of my staff are. Can you tell me why I should mourn for him? Other than that, it's the right thing to do. Other than that, give me another reason." He said, he called it's Floyd 19. The tweet was not, and then later he said his gym said in a comment, the tweet was not racist, but a mistake. How is that not racist?
I'm sorry, I don't even get it. Like, why would that be something you talk to your gym owners about, first of all?
Probably because everything was being closed. And then I don't know if they were affected at all by the protests. But I think he was going off on COVID and somehow just like it all, because he's seemingly super, super racist. It all got turned around to like focusing on that instead of COVID, which is what I think. Yeah, he just sounds like a Fox News nut. Like, he was on this long call apparently and kept throwing out all of these crazy conspiracy theories that have been debunked, like the COVID was made in a Wuhan lab and all this crazy other stuff.
A lot of people that start those, not those, a lot of, is it too, I want to say a lot of men who start these like franchises and are good at selling to other people and stuff, it seems to always come out later that they're kind of wacko. They have these crazy beliefs, but it's, I think you're about to start this, but I was going to say, I think to be that sort of salesperson and to drive, you have to believe in something so hard. But I think it happens that you also sometimes believe in other things so hard, and you end up being a bit like
you have to be a sociopath a little bit. Like, not everyone. Like, there are some good ones, of course, some CEOs and some builders who are good, genuine people. But also it also works really well if you're a complete sociopath.
Or at least have a hint of it.
Yeah, and don't like think about how many lives you're at. Like, even like Amazon, who, he's not
killing the planet.
Right. He's not like, well, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows if he's like secretly super racist or like anything, but he's definitely not looking out for everyone as best he could.
No, and like his company capitalizes on, cheap labor.
Well, let's even take it a step further. Like Bill Gates, who's dumped like millions and billions of dollars into helping people around the world, vaccines, like saving kids in poor situations. He's just probably trying
to buy himself some balance for when he goes to the next place, which he must believe in, because otherwise...
I would think he wouldn't believe in it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah,
maybe just for your
for a scientific background.
For yourself, I don't know, for your own self-feeling. I'm like, don't have words today. Yeah, I don't know, but he's probably done a lot of that shit.
Even him, right? Like, who builds all that stuff? Who builds everything that he makes? Right?
Oh, not only that, I don't know if it's as bad as for the iPhone workers, but you've heard about it. Like, it's so secret in all those factories. Like, they don't get to see their families.
Yeah.
Like, they're completely isolated. This is prior to COVID. So now we understand, like, when they were feeling suicidal and you hear all these reports about them, like, it's like slave labor. You're not allowed to see anyone. Now we kind of know.
Yeah, we're like at home in luxury, and like 2 months in, we're like, this is the worst.
Yeah, could you imagine now this is your job and like the only way you have to support your family? And oh my God. Yeah, so that's where all your stuff comes from. I don't know if his are as bad, but yeah, it's still... It must be so weird also to be so far up the chain that maybe you don't know the extent until someone says it, and then you're like, oh, that sucks, but also money. But like, they have so much money, so why keep going?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, yeah.
Power?
Maybe. It's just like a money obsession, like it's just a game.
Or it's just a business obsession, like they just can't stop having big business.
When you get big enough, you have a lot other people to, not atone, what's the word? I can't find the word. Yeah, a lot of people that you have to pacify, and like, you have investors and a board and yeah.
Right, you can't just opt out, you might get sued. But okay, but just like back to this CrossFit guy, I don't get it. Like, okay, so it's just, okay, so he's wacko. It's just some call to his staff. Like, some of these people that get exposed, I'm like, whoa, you felt so strongly or didn't take, like something happened that day that you really felt that this was okay to spew out loud. Like that's...
And that you didn't think it would get out. Like it was with like franchise owners and like, you don't think one person is going to get offended when you go on like a Fox News rant?
It's like that ego that like you think everyone in the room agrees with you.
That's what sociopaths are.
Yeah, you think everyone thinks the same way as you and everyone in the room is going, holy shit.
Yeah, and leaking it to the media.
The first thing they're doing, even though it could destroy their own business.
Like they're not even people you know, they're franchise owners. It's not like your tiny company that you're in control of. It's a franchise.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think there are Black people who support the Black Lives Matter movement in your franchise sphere?
Well, who knows? Maybe he didn't.
Maybe not as like, I don't know. Maybe he's like that race that there's not even a single Black owner. That would be crazy. That'd be a whole different story. But like, somewhere down the chain of command, like what? It's like a white power company. Like there's no. Yeah.
It's sounding crazy if he felt that comfortable. I mean, maybe he just had a moment where he forgot he wasn't surrounded by close friends. But that's like crazy. It's crazy.
Speaking of crazy, here's a little segment that we don't have a name for yet, but I'm going to give you a heading, like a clickbait heading, and you tell me whether you want to hear more about that story or not. Okay, so here you go. First one.
Okay.
Texas police wants you to know you love them.
What?
More? You want to hear about it?
I'm the worst though. Have you seen me on Instagram? Like even this, I saw a headline and I go Google what that headline means because I don't understand.
So that's a yes?
Yes, tell me.
The yes on Texas police wants you to know you love them. So the Austin Police Department has been accused of faking thank you letters. They posted images of thank you letters on Twitter with a black and white cop smiling together in this like super cheesy, lame, like it looked like a meme picture.
Like they didn't hire a professional person to do their propaganda?
With all these envelopes around that they were reading, like they were just like laughing with this envelope, like what a great time. And then users, like Twitter users, went on the thread and pointed out that all the writing, these were thank you letters, by the way, like thank you letters from the community to the police, right? So they're saying, oh my God, look at all this love mail we got. And then users pointed out that all the writing on the envelopes was the same, that there was no postage. They're like, how did you even get those?
Everyone just walked down to the police station and dropped them off.
All in the same writing. Like it was just like they handed it to a social media. They're like, make us look good. And the person like just didn't have any kind of awareness to be like, oh, I can't like write all these. It's like very distinct writing. It wasn't like generic writing. It was like, you could see in the image like all these T's were circled because like all the T's looked exactly the same and they were very like strange and kind of cursive and nice writing. And this same police department, the Austin Police Department's had like this current and past history of ridiculous abuse. Like just there's one named Michael Ramos died April 24th after neighbors called them claiming to see a man and his girlfriend in a car doing drugs. When cops arrived at the scene, an officer fired a non-lethal round into Ramos' side despite him having his hands in the air and stating he was unarmed. Then a college student who was 20 was hit with a projectile causing brain damage. Police shot the wrong person after officers who were guarding the department's headquarters building were pelted with rocks, water bottles, and a backpack, and instead of hitting the person who threw the bottle, it hit the head of a nearby protester who was recording on his cell phone. But some people who were seen on video trying to get him away from the scene have claimed that the cops told them not to help Howell and threatened to shoot them too. So the man suffered serious head injuries, including a fractured skull and brain damage. And then they're posting this shit on Twitter, being like, you love us, you love us, it's so nice.
They couldn't even get that right, and now it's like, the mistrust of the police.
Yeah.
Like they can't even fake their own thank you letters. Oh my gosh. It's so crazy. Like it must be so hard right now for competent police officers because there just seems to be so much incompetence and so much like I don't know what it's like in the States to become a police officer. I only know one person who's done it here, and he had to get a minimum like 2-year degree. Like he had to have at least that. And then he has to go through their course training and yada, yada, yada. And he had, you know what I mean? Like they make you have like some stand, like, okay, like get out there, and he had to have community training and all these other things where.
Yeah, but it's all about what is that training?
Yeah.
Like you could be trained to be a bad cop too. Most are, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, putting your knee down on somebody's neck, like, is that part of training? There's a debate now, like, are they teaching that? Because they all seem to do it, and they're not supposed to be teaching it, but yet it's the first instinct.
Oh, yeah, I know. I would totally think they're teaching it, because a lot of those things, if you're in a heightened situation, you automatically do something. It's because you're taught to do it. You've trained yourself to do it, so you don't have to think. You just react. And you react the same way each time, so you know exactly what you're going to do without having to think it out. So I wouldn't see how it's not trained. I never feel like I need to put my knee on someone's neck, and I feel like I play fight a lot and I have wrestled a lot in my life, and I just never feel like I should put my knee on someone's neck. Yeah,
it's not a safe thing to do.
Yeah,
I mean, even under the best of circumstances, then you do it for like 9 minutes, and what is expected to happen there?
Yeah, like I don't get it.
Okay, you ready for the next clickbait headline?
Yeah.
NASCAR pisses off racists, aka its entire customer base.
I have no interest. I don't care about NASCAR, to be honest.
But they're pissing off racists, which is like hilarious because it's NASCAR, and that's like, who else watches NASCAR? Okay, not that one. You're not into it. For anyone who is into it, they told people that they can't wave the Confederate flag at races anymore.
Oh my God, they used to wave the Confederate flag at games?
Yeah, well, I don't know what it's called, the game.
Okay, whatever the thing they do when they do the racing thing.
Yeah, lots of people. It's like a big thing, and people are so angry about it on Twitter.
Really?
It's like you'd think they like told them they can't bring their mom to a race. It's just like insane.
Oh my gosh.
But it is substantial because that's a huge part of their base is like the Trump crowd, you know?
Yeah, no, it's true. I don't know.
I wonder if they're
I don't know that. I don't know.
I wonder if they're really going to feel it. Like, I'd be interested, like, in the turnouts to the next set of events and down the line.
Okay, well, where else are those people gonna go? What else are they gonna do? Like, I feel like when you're into like, I guess you could watch like a dune buggy race or go to some other, like, there's nothing as big as NASCAR.
We're sorry if you're actually a nice NASCAR fan.
Yeah,
we don't mean to lump all of you, but we're just talking generally speaking.
We're just stereotyping a whole group of people because they like watching car racing.
My guess would be like it's 80% accurate.
Yeah.
Dr. Bonnie Henry's disappointed in us.
Good for her. Why?
Because she was disappointed in the BLM protests in Vancouver.
Oh.
She said we worked too hard and there is definite ways to protest and to show your beliefs in a way that still keeps everyone safe. So it's this weird thing where it's like
tricky.
You support the movement, but at the same time, like, you also don't want to kill everybody's grandma.
Right.
And like, you want the economy to survive. And yeah, so it's like, where's the balance? And it's like, it's significant that she came out and said that because it's a dangerous thing to say right now. And she's been, maybe only because she's on like a pedestal right now, and she's like in the New York Times. I don't know if you know this, but she's
I saw.
Yeah, she's in the New York Times as like kind of the leading charge. So maybe she's earned the right to say something, but I'm sure in a lot of circles they don't care who she is and think that that's so yeah.
It's so tricky. Like, I don't know what the answer would be, but did you see those protests? I don't know what city it was in. It was like a very organized protest. Everyone wore masks and they spaced themselves out. Mm-hmm. And I thought, what? Like, one, the crazy organization, but also like, what a way to still protest and be seen and show up and still be safe, and that everyone was required to wear a mask. But
the pictures of Vancouver, I saw some today from the last one. And it did look more than the video we watched on the day of. Mm-hmm. In the picture, at least, I don't know if they chose a picture that like showed, but like it seemed like it was a huge crowd, and it seemed like 90% were wearing masks. So I like even commented.
People showed up with masks on.
Yeah, like the video we watched was right at the front, and it didn't look like very many people were wearing masks. And we're like, oh, okay, come on, like you can protest and wear a mask at the same time.
You can.
Yeah, but in that picture, at least, the couple that I saw, there were a lot of people. So good job, Vancouver. Yeah, and let's keep protesting that way because this thing has to end. Speaking of it ending, though, maybe we can end on a good note for once.
You have to specify COVID. COVID has to end. Keep protesting. This thing has to end. Oh my gosh, I almost stepped on our dog.
Yeah. COVID has to end, not the protest. The protest must continue until things change. Clickbait headline, Corona is dead.
Yeah, I want to know.
New Zealand is officially Corona-free.
Whoa!
They're like back to regular life. Like the headline was like, hugs and handshakes are okay in New Zealand.
You know what they did, right?
They closed the borders. Everybody had to wear a mask.
No.
And they did massive isolation.
Massive isolation. I work with someone who is from there, and she's like, basically what they did was everyone got an alert and said, wherever you end up tonight, you're isolating there for 2 weeks. And so everybody that day had to rush around and like get to where they want to be for the next 2 weeks, and then you weren't allowed out. And they just stayed there.
I want to point out that in one of our first episodes, I like cautiously, because I felt like it was controversial at the time, but I wish I had been more forceful. I said what BC needs to do is to shut the whole thing down for a month, and we would have been done.
I'm pretty sure they only did 2 weeks though.
Okay, well, even 2 weeks, we would have been like done. And it's harder for us because we don't have closed borders with the rest of Canada.
They can just
They're an island, so it's easier. But still, like that, like all this stuff and like, yeah, everything that's gone on could have just been shut down if we just like did it full throttle.
But that's the thing, like we can't stop people from other provinces coming in.
Well, I know we should.
We still have to
set up some fucking
road
patrol.
Where do you think all our like food comes from?
That's fine, but...
Like, I bet 90% of it comes from Washington and Mexico.
Yeah, but you can, like... I don't know. You can at the border...
You won't even take strawberries from, like, a person delivering them. I don't know. Like, it's tough.
Yeah, but you can do it in ways where not everybody is out in public. Like, New Zealanders had to get food, too. And they have more imports because they only have the things they grow there.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that's... Yeah, like you figure out a system where like the delivery drivers go into like a quarantine section and drop off things, you know? It's not like, other places that have shut down need food too. But yeah, so if this gets any worse, like I feel like that's the answer. You shut everybody in for 2 weeks and then it's over. And they're like, they now get to sit back because their borders are still closed until they feel it's fine. They're completely like, they're just fine. They're just living life, looking at the world, being like, oh, sure sucks to be there.
Sucks to be there.
That's what I want. As soon as I read that, I was like, oh man, how can I move to New Zealand? I'm like, oh, I guess you can't right now.
No, you're not allowed in. Well, you might be allowed in if you quarantine.
Yeah. I'm like, let's go on like a year-long vacation to New Zealand, just quarantine for a month when we get there. And
I think when she said when people were coming in, they were making them stay at a hotel too.
Yeah.
And they just bring you like not one meal a day, but they'd bring you like your meals and you weren't allowed out.
Yeah, that's the right way to do it. Let's do that, Canada.
They have a kick-ass prime minister too. She just like lays down the law and they get shit done. And it seems like their country's been running pretty well.
Yeah, make Bonnie Prime Minister, or at least BC Premier, and let's get this shit shut down.
Well, I mean, okay.